Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Dr. Homebrew.
Welcome back.
On your iDevice.
Because you listen regularly.
I'm assuming you listen regularly. If this is your first show, you're in for a treat. I'm going to tell you that.
And you will be listening regularly.
And you will, yes.
With your entire Homebrew Club.
Or else, we'll get code to find your IP address, look you up, and then just sit on your front lawn. You know, have you guys been watching the show, The Leftovers? Been watching that show on? You guys been watching that? I think it's rad. It's based on this book, which I hear is kind of terrible. Actually, I was reading the reviews on it. It's like some elliptical machine. Is that what it is?
An apocalyptical
machine where you work your buns out and then suddenly the Earth explodes.
Tightens your buns and turns you into a mutant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And then you get to survive.
You have seen it.
So
no.
Everybody gets raptured, and then they just
disappear.
Left, other people are left behind.
Yeah, and so hence the leftovers. But there's this group within the show called the Guilty Remnant, I think is what they're called, and they dress in white. They don't speak anything, and all they do is smoke cigarettes. And then they go to recruit people. They don't do anything. They just stand in front of your house
and hand you cigarettes,
just staring at you, smoking. Just staring at you until you freak out, and it's amazing, and that's what this show's a lot like. Yeah, and so if you don't listen to the show, that's what we're gonna do.
That's a lot like Doctor.
We're gonna sit here and stare at JP till he freaks out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go, okay, fine, I give. What do you want? And then you'll write it down, and it'll be some weird thing. And
can we smoke candy cigarettes? I think real cigarettes would interfere with the beer flavor for me. I don't really do that. So
I was at an 80s party for my brother's girlfriend, and they had candy cigarettes. And they were made in Portugal or some weird and then they were mostly tapioca.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Binding agent, I guess. Yeah. Well, they can't call them candy cigarettes, though. They're like candy sticks or something.
I don't think even the real 80s were quite that weird.
No.
But in the 80s, you could call it a candy cigarette.
In the 80s, you could probably eat tobacco and it was fine.
Right.
It's a real cigarette, but we'll call it candy, and then, it's good.
Yeah, you just spit into an empty beer can once in a while.
Right. I feel like I'm full of stories right now for some reason. Anyway, it's Dr. Homebrew, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Before we get to the incredible show, I think we have a pretty good lineup of beers today. I want to thank 5 Star Chemicals. You go to 5starchemicals.com. They bring you this show each and every month, sometimes twice a month. Actually, every time twice a month. But they're great. They're a fantastic sponsor. They're supporting what we're doing here on Dr. Homebrew, which is essentially teaching people how to take their beers to the next level. If you have any sort of flaws, maybe my water doesn't taste right, or this thing is kind of weird, or this funky thing, or my score is in the high 20s and I need to get out of there because I want to start winning some competitions. That's what we're about. Send us your beer. Shoot me an email, jp@thebrewingnetwork.com, and I will contact you eventually before the rapture takes place. I promise you that.
But our first question is going to be, are you using 5 Star? No.
It needs to be because seriously, that's the only way to ensure that you are have a clean and sanitary work environment is to use 5 Star Chemicals. There's a few products on the market that claim to be just a one-step thing, but it's really not. So
you can't just be clean, and you can't get sanitary without first being clean.
That's right.
And I've personally drawn 5 stars on all the entrance score sheets for tonight.
There you go.
Subliminal advertising.
Yeah.
And if you are both clean and sanitary, you might survive the rapture if you want to. If you want to. If you want to be one of those people in white suits smoking cigarettes and freaking out your neighbors.
I can't tell if Brian is just subliminal advertising genius or ADD victim.
I don't know. Yeah.
Both?
Is there ever a difference?
No.
It sounds like I don't know. Sounds like that show is pretty cool, though. I wish I had time to watch shows once in a while.
What's that supposed to mean? I have a lot of time on my hands?
No, it just means I have a
Yeah.
Because I do have a lot of time on my
Yeah,
hands.
we know.
18-month-old at home.
I do like 500 radio shows for a living. That's all I have is time.
No time.
Yeah,
but I make time for Dr. Homebrew because I like doing that.
You should, dude. And I really appreciate you coming on.
Oh, yeah.
Lee,
I listen all the time. Sometimes I even show up.
We appreciate staring across the desk at you, and we like talking to the brewers. That's what it's really about.
It's a lot of fun, yeah. So, of course, my co-hosts Brian and Lee, they're really the brains behind the whole operation. They're master BJCP judges, and they are here to give you the rundown on your beer. So today, we do have a pretty rad lineup. I had to make notes because each these are like
these are complex beers,
nebulous categories or something. So the first one that we're going to be tasting in studio is a dark sour blended beer aged in old Rasputin barrels. I get that right?
Yeah, that's about
it. All right.
We're calling it a 16E Belgian specialty.
16E, okay, great,
show.
Wonderful. And
for
then
those reading at home through the guidelines in the bjcp.org website, or if you have a printed copy.
Yeah, and then afterwards, we're going to do a strong, dark Belgian blackberry wit beer. Sound about right?
Yes.
Okay. 16E?
Sure. Also 16. Yeah, so we're doing two 16Es in this show.
Jesus
Last show we did 2 American Pale Ales. Now we've got 2 Belgian specialties.
I'm excited. I don't think I've quite had beers like either of these two.
You probably have not.
So,
but maybe you have.
That'll be interesting.
I can't read your mind.
Way to mix things up, JP.
That's all I do
for every show. But yet you managed to mix things up anyway, I think. Well, we'll see, but yeah.
I mix stuff up, dude. I don't know if you know that about me, but I'm a mixer.
Mix Master JP.
That's right.
That's right. We'll have 2 cream ales in the next show.
That's all I'm going to do from now on. Just
Get
the
2
same
of each
style.
kind?
Oh, I'm sorry. You have a Vienna lager? Nope. We're looking for light Americans right now. Sorry, bro. You're out. You're out.
How many light Americans are there?
I don't even know what to say to that.
Know. Probably just as well. The more you drink, the less you are. Yeah,
that's for a break.
It's time for a break.
Time for a break.
Already. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We have Sam and his lovely wife, Tanya. Hello. I may not have you guys on, so sorry if I don't. Oh, wait. There we go.
He'll fix that.
All right. Try now.
Hello.
Howdy.
Perfect. Look at that. I'm a genius. So we're going to talk to you guys about your beer. Tanya, do you brew this beer also? Are you a home brewer?
She definitely influenced the blend. We brewed this for our wedding, actually. This was our wedding favorite.
Okay, get on the mic.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was our wedding favorite, so a big part of it went to her. Yeah.
Cool.
It was emotionally supportive.
There you go. That's all you need to do. It's fine. So you probably, if we had to issue credit, you would be 80%, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because
I am the brains and the beauty.
See? There we go. What's he?
The muscle.
Yeah, definitely the
muscle.
All right. There we go. Good. All right, everybody. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to do some more nonsense here on Dr. Homebrew. We're going to taste some of this beer. I'm thirsty, so let's play these commercials. Back after this.
This is a public service announcement.
Hey, dude, I think there's... What's wrong? You don't look so good. There's something wrong with your beer. It's making everyone sick.
Don't let your beer make your loved ones ill. Proper cleaning and sanitation is the key to avoiding puke on your shoes.
But I used an all-in-one.
Cleaning and sanitizing cannot be done in a one-step process. No cleaner can sanitize, and no sanitizer can clean. The amazing chemists at 5 Star Chemicals have your solution. Clean with BBW and sanitize with Star San.
Fantastic!
Your friends and loved ones will thank you. 5 Star products are available at fine homebrew shops near you and online. Put your best beer forward with 5 Star Chemicals. Your one stop for the cleanest 2-step solution.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing. a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Cans.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Dr. Homebrew, please report to the ER for a code blue. Dr. Homebrew to the ER, please. No, and your tea time has been moved to 2:30.
All right, everyone, welcome back. I feel like I say that after every break and every show.
And nobody says anything.
No one cares.
We want to be welcoming, though.
Yeah.
But we're happy to be here. We're glad.
We are glad.
We are glad.
Are we going to start this again?
No.
It's a different emotion. I like that.
We welcome anyone who wants to listen.
We're perturbed.
We are. We're something. That's for sure.
All right.
So we have Sam and Tanya in the studio. How you guys doing?
Good.
Great.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Perfect. So, okay, you have the, let me get my thing here, dark sour blend in old Rasputin barrels.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay, and how old is this beer?
The oldest that went into the blend is about 3 years, and the freshest is probably about 3 months now.
3 months now. How long have you been home brewing?
About 6-7 years, and I've been professional brewer for about 1.5 years now as well.
Oh, okay. Where are you brewing?
I'm down at Lagunitas right now.
Nice. How's it going over there? How are the kids doing at Lagunitas?
The kids are good. We're going on a field trip tomorrow down to Anchor to see how they do things a little differently. It should be a hell of a San Francisco adventure.
Field trip, you guys.
Nice. Yeah, Anchor's fun for sure.
We don't get to do stuff like that.
We went to the Wonder Bread factory when I was a kid. That was quite the field trip.
Went to the Hershey factory. That was fun. That's it. I didn't get to go anywhere cool.
The Hershey factory? Okay.
Hershey.
Yeah. I think we went to a Twinkie factory, too, and saw, Hostess stuff. It might have been the same place, though.
Where was that?
It's in Cleveland.
Oh, okay. That's nowhere near
I went to the Jelly Belly factory as an adult.
Hey, that's a good tour, though.
I like sugar.
I still haven't done that tour. I heard it's amazing.
It's cool, yeah. You can buy the belly flops, like the ones that came out misshapen, and they give you big bags of them for, $5 or something.
Next time visiting the Hop Grenade in Concord,
Yeah.
make time for the Jelly Belly factory in Fairfield.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get yourself a bag of belly flops.
Which can be dissolved and fermented.
Oh. I want to know how you know that.
They have preservatives
Well,
in
it's
them?
just sugar.
It's true.
Probably is
And
just
a bunch
sugar,
of other
yeah.
nonsense.
Yeah.
So then how long have you been homebrewing, Sam, if your oldest beer is 3 years old?
I've been homebrewing about 7 years in total now. I started in college just to make beer for my roommates to drink, so they wouldn't drink my craft beer, and so it was just all alcoholic stuff. But since I graduated college, moved on a little bit, I was brewing while I was a merchant marine, and I was brewing while I was out at sea. And since I've kind of quit that, come back home, I've been brewing pretty much nonstop, at least 2-3 times a week almost.
Wow. Tanya's nodding her head feverishly.
Yeah,
Yes, he's brewing all the time.
He's had a lot of ruined closet space because of my brewing.
Yeah, we're not in an apartment anymore, so it's a little bit better. But yeah, I think it's really funny that he'll work a night shift for 10 hours and then come home and brew more beer. So that's commitment right there.
He loves it. I couldn't do that.
A night shift at a brewery, no less.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I do mostly sours. So you've got to get a good stock on hand so you can
Oh, yeah.
later.
That's true. Have you ever taken wort from the big tanks and soured that thing down?
I haven't done it as like a whole pitch. I've done it as like a wort starter. I'll take some wort home.
Oh, okay.
2-liter thing to pitch them up.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And then, so where did you get the old Rasputin barrel?
Before Lagunitas, I was a brewer up. I was a production supervisor up at North Coast, and actually, I didn't age that barrel, or I didn't age the beer in that barrel. What it was is the beer is called something old, something new, and I could have called it something borrowed as well at the wedding, because one of the other brewers up there took one of the old Rasputin barrels home after we had emptied it out. He brewed, I think, for almost 2 weeks straight, just homebrewing 5 10-gallon batches to fill this barrel back up with amber sour that he was going to use for the Solera project. He, about right before our wedding, actually, he moved back to Pennsylvania, where he's from, and he now works at Trogs. So he left us with about 6 gallons of this amber sour.
Oh, wow.
And I think a lot of it was a Munich base malt. So that was kind of the base for this sour. So you get a little bit of the cherry flavor coming from that, probably. But for the most part, yeah, he had aged 60 gallons of the stuff in a Rasputin barrel, and then before he left, he just distributed it to all his friends.
So you didn't make it, you just stole it from this dude.
I stole part of it.
That's all right. That's all right. He wasn't going to use it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
He's all right.
Repurposed.
Little freak.
There you go. Repurposed. All right, Brian, you're up, dude.
The bottles look pretty cool, too. It's, it's something old, something new, nice label on it.
Yeah, very cute label.
Your party favorite.
Yeah.
A dark blend of old and young sour ales.
I'd love to go to a wedding that has beer this good at it. Kidding me?
Yeah. It's a little 375 ml cork finish bottle, so they're nice.
Looks good.
Yeah, so I do get a lot of cherry and fruitiness, in there. The first, plums and cherries and a lot of interesting stuff. The first thing I noted was, it does have kind of a woody and horse blanket aromas, kind of in even measure, jumping out at you, and some Brett character there. The malt is pleasantly fruity and has a lot of different elements of fruit. Some tangerine, cherry, plum, darker fruits, brighter citrus fruits. Really cool blend there of just fruity flavors coming from the malt. It had a little bit of kind of a tannic quality in the nose, and the sourness comes across mostly as clean lactic sourness. There is a little hint of some acetic in there as well. What you would call vinegary, but it doesn't smell or taste vinegary. It just has that in balance with the other sour elements. Later, Lee and I were talking. I thought I got a faint whiff of some diacetyl, which actually, it's a butter, but that's okay in in like a Flanders red. You can get a hint of that behind it, and as long as it's kind of hiding behind everything else, it's just fine. That's the character of what this. I thought I got in this up front, and then I was having a hard time getting it later, and I thought I got a little bit in the flavor too, but just a hint in the background as it like floats off the end of your tongue at the very end of the finish. So,
which is fine.
Yeah, which is fine. It's not buttery offensive at all. It's just like just sub, barely threshold if it's there. But yeah, I could be psyching myself out too. It's a pretty beer because it's kind of a reddish brown color with a low light tan head of bubbles, and it has that thing like there's something about the surface tension of a sour beer that just they pop away quickly like soda pop bubbles. But it does at the end. It leaves a fine collar of light tan bubbles around the edge of the glass. So it's like it's got these like little pop, and then fades to that kind of thicker collar, which is kind of cool. You don't expect a beer like this to have a big head that sticks around anyway. Flavor-wise, pleasantly sour with mostly lactic sourness being prominent. The sourness level is medium-high, I would say, but not. It's not intense. It's a nice job of blending to get the teeth melting sourness away and bring in a little more body in with that. Again, a bit of acetic lurking behind the lactic, but the wood character and the flavor was lower to me than in the aroma. There was a little bit of wood character, but it was just hiding behind everything else and well balanced with other elements. Seemed clean ale fermentation. Obviously, in all of this, there's no funky hot alcohol or anything poking out in here. Just big fruity malt flavors coming through along with the sourness. and it finishes fairly dry, but not bone dry or anything like that. So, and medium bodied with, I would say, medium low carbonation, very low alcohol warmth. It's pretty smooth overall. There were a little bit of tannins in the mouthfeel. You could get a little puckering in there, but it wasn't painful puckering. And then it's not bitingly sour. The teeth melting quality or feel that you get in some sour beers, where they just like coat your palate, and it just like you can feel the enamel melting away.
Yeah, those are too much.
I don't like that. So very pleasant drinking sour dark beer. I kind of judged it along the lines of looking at some of the elements of a Flanders Red, along with some of the American sours that I've had and well blended beers. This is a good example. Very pleasant, and it has restrained sourness and pretty well balanced use of wood. If anything, could use a little more wood in the flavor. I mean, it's like understand it's a little older barrel, and that could give another interesting note in there. But as it is, it's very good. So yeah, good work balancing the sour elements with the Brett and the other bugs that are in here, and just really nice, pleasant fruitiness overall. So I give it a 40. Nice
awesome.
job. Good job.
Excellent. Lee, what do you think, man?
I like this. It's a very nice beer. Light acidity and some cocoa in the nose, a little bit of some berry esters. It's fairly low carbonation, almost flat, really. It's very low carbonation, so I had to swirl it to get some of the more interesting stuff out. But you do that, and you get some Brett character and some wood aromas. The acidity, which is in there, seems to be mostly lactic, but definitely had a little bit of an acetic edge to it, which was nice. Very nice complexity in the nose when you swirl it. You get a lot of different aromas coming out of there. The appearance was a little bit hazy. Doesn't seem quite so now, but it's warmed up a bit. Brown caramel kind of color. Pours a very low head, which fades to a bead, but that's gone now, but it sticks around for a while. But, sour beers like this sometimes just don't have much head, as Brian said. Flavor, medium strong acidity, cherry and cocoa, some caramel notes, no hop flavor, IBUs just to balance, which in this case means very, very little. Lots of fruit. I get cherry, berry, plum, some date kind of flavors in here. Balance is definitely towards the sour and the malt. Probably a little towards the sour over the malt, actually. Finish is slightly sweet and then drying with lots of lingering fruit and cocoa, a little bit of wood flavor. The mouthfeel, there definitely seems some astringency in this beer, and that's something you fairly commonly would expect in a Flanders Red. You'll get some of that, be it from the sourness of the wood or something coming out of the ferment, but you'll get that, and there was definitely some of that here. Other than that, that works for the style, but I thought that was fairly strong even for the style. Not like out of line, but it was definitely kind of a prominent character there. Other than that, sort of a medium-low body, very low carbonation, not really any creaminess. You don't usually get much of that in a sour beer. Low alcohol warmth, a bit of a drying. Maybe could use a little more carbonation, but not necessarily so. Overall, I thought it was a tasty, very sippable sour. Good fruit character, good wood flavors, clean, bright acidity. The drying astringency was a bit strong for my taste, but not bad. Definitely shouldn't be any more than that. Could be a little less. It might be, depending where you think the source of this is, maybe blend a little more of the young beer, which will probably have less of that if you want to bring that down. Age might help with that too. Those things might both help lower the drying character a bit. Maybe it could use a little more carbonation. It's fairly low, but that actually might drive the astringency higher, so it might not help you in that, at least not in the short term. But all that said, really nice sour. Prominent, smooth souring, nice fruit character in there, nice cocoa flavors, nicely done beer. I gave it a 38. And I would probably, I was trying to figure out, I wanted to score a little higher than that, actually. And for me, the question that was sort of holding me back a bit was one, and this is strictly sort of a BJCP thing, is how do you categorize this beer? Belgian specialty sour, it's kind of hard to figure out what to exactly to call a beer like this. But my experience with this is the better job you do of sort of directing the judges at something that matches the beer, the better they'll score. So calling it something like you did a dark sour blend of old and young, Olden North Coast Rasputin barrels is fine. It's what you did. But dark sour isn't something that gives a judge much to go by. I mean, for me, based on what I found in here, if you had called this maybe a Flanders Red, a blend old and young Flanders Red, aged in an Imperial Stout barrel, it would perfectly have nailed what you have there and give the judge some expectations to judge it by. And if you did that, I think you'd probably get a few points higher than what I gave it, because then you'd have sort of a style to compare it to, and you compare it favorably, as opposed to, well, I'll judge it on its own merits, and that's great, but what is this trying to be? It's a dark sour. It's its own thing. And, of course, the category you put it into may change in a few months, and they come out with the new style guidelines, but that same principle is going to apply to a lot of these subcategories still, especially these open specialty things, because they're kind of, the more you give the judge something to shoot for in terms of how they're evaluating it, the better you usually do in these things. But I thought this was a wonderful beer. It's really nice. Very good sour.
Thank you. That's great advice.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it in.
And in to the style comment, in big capital letters in under 16E Belgian Specialty Ale, it does say the brewer must specify either the beer being cloned, the new style being produced, or the special ingredients or processes used. So, giving the judges a little more of something to go by can make a difference of a few points. But yeah, I agree with that comment wholeheartedly. It was hard to know where to judge this, and we kind of fell into 16E, but you could also judge it as a wood-aged beer, in the 23s, or just, you could put it a lot of different places, I guess. 23.
Mostly I want to put it in my mouth.
I mean, 23 special. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going
23
for.
specialty beer or in the wood-aged.
Do you think putting down that it was a blend of old and new made a difference? Would you have known that? Would you have tasted and gone, well, I don't know, there's something weird?
That's a good detail to put, because if you taste an old, an old Flanders versus a younger Flanders, it's
okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be different. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to put that sort of thing down.
Right. You can go crazy giving way too many details. I mean, just try to get to the essence of what the beer is, and
because I would think for me, because I don't brew very good beer all the time, but then I would put that down. Then I know the comment would be, I don't really taste any old, so maybe work on your blend. You know what I mean? So I don't even know if that's probably the point of the show. Probably, I say, I didn't think of it. But,
I mean, the rest is
to figure out how to enter these categories, what to put down, right?
Part of it, yeah. And I mean, honestly, not to get too harsh and judgmental as a judge, but that was the biggest flaw of this beer: is what the hell to call it.
Yeah,
it's a good flaw to have.
Yeah, dark sour doesn't say much.
Right.
It doesn't really guide you anywhere. Then it's not pale, and it's going to be sour.
Right. I was kind of going after what the guys, the rare barrel.
Yeah.
Color coding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It
sometimes
doesn't tell you much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to go by the overall balance of the beer and give it the benefit of the doubt for what it is. And a good judge can do that and just look at a beer for what it is and say, okay, even though they didn't tell me everything about this beer, I can kind of see what they were going for, and I think I saw something of what you were going for with this, and I like what I saw.
And he masterfully gave it 2 more points than I did.
I bumped it up. Yeah, I bumped it up 1 more.
Congratulations to you,
after.
Brian.
Yeah.
Yes, good job. No, that's a wonderful beer. You definitely. You said you had some more of this stuff hanging around.
I do. I've got about 3 cases left.
Yeah,
It'll
I
age
would.
well.
I would meter this one out. Yeah,
Oh,
this should age well.
Yeah, we're going to try to do maybe one a year on an anniversary or something like that. Keep it going.
For a few cases.
Well, let's see.
All right. Well, that will be good. Yeah.
Tanya has a time limit: 2 cases of beer, and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Start brewing some more beer, dude.
Well, yeah, 3 cases is 75 years, so that's ambitious.
Oh, that's true, I guess. Yeah. Look at
There
that.
you go.
I drink a case a night, so what do I know?
Well, if you 1 bottle a year.
For me, that's
On their
2
75th
years.
anniversary, they'll drink the last bottle and croak, right?
Exactly.
Together.
Right.
Perfect. This is a beautiful story here, guys. Sorry, am I going too far with this?
No.
I love it.
Oh, that'd be gorgeous. That'd be it's a brewer's dream right there.
Kind of is, right? All on life support. Honey, your breathing machine is making it hard to smell my aromas.
Yeah, can you put
Yeah,
that in the IV?
you're going to visit all your friends who still have a bottle left and start stealing them out of their fridge. That's another year we got.
Yeah, so, remember that wedding favor? Look over there.
This beer is to die for.
Well, Sam, do you have any questions for the guys on this?
No, I mean, that's exactly what I was looking for. was just kind of where to categorize it. I get, the Flemish Red would probably be a little better. I was thinking it didn't quite have enough acetic qualities for that.
It's not blatantly acetic, but it's definitely got some in there. And the acidity is prominent, and it's got enough of an edge for it. It'll work. I mean, it's not as in your face as something like a Duchess is, but it's a strong and very pleasant acidity. Yeah, I think that would probably work. Yeah, this ended up as a third of it was a stout that I'd done with the Roeselare blend from White. About 40% ended up being the Amber Solera project from the old Rasputin barrel, and the last third was just a super pale, low gravity lambic that I'd had aging for about 3 years already. So I got a lot of the fruitiness from that amber, and then a lot of the lambic ended up being a bit too acidic, so the stout kind of balanced it out for sure. And I was just kind of curious to see where the blend would go, and I'm very happy with it so far.
Awesome.
Well, this is 40% stout.
40% stout.
Wow.
And actually, you guys tasted that stout about a year and a half ago.
Here.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah. I remember the sour stout that came from
Brett
up there.
Stout,
Yeah, that was good.
One thing that could be said is it's not extremely dark or anything. So if you call it a dark sour, you could call it it's a dark reddish sour. Or it's a red blend or something. But I mean, although it's probably not. It's not a red blend. It's a blend of stout and lambic, which is interesting. But it does have all the qualities that you would want in a good red sour or reddish dark sour. So kind of. There's some lines there you can play with when you're entering the beer and talking about it, but
Yeah, I would not have guessed 40% stout, though.
No,
I figured
no
I was
way.
getting a good cocoa flavor sort of in here, but I figured that was all coming out of the barrel that it had been in.
Yeah, there's a lot of it from that, but
that cocoa cherry was awesome.
Yeah. And it looks like it's only 5.3%. I mean, I would have guessed that it's a little stronger than that myself, but
that was
intense.
A rough guess.
We
got married on May 3rd, so that was kind of a 5-3 thing, but it's probably about that.
In the neighborhood,
it was a rough
sours.
blend.
You don't always.
TTV doesn't need to give a shit.
Right, it's a homebrew.
Right.
You're not selling it. Yeah,
you just wanted people to drink more and get happy at your wedding, right?
Exactly.
How did it go over? Were people super stoked? Because sour beer, not everyone really digs it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I've been really surprised. People that I didn't think would like a sour have gone out of their way to tell me they've really liked it. So it's been really nice to hear.
That's cool.
Cool.
That's awesome. Okay, well, if that's it, if you guys don't have any questions, okay. Then we're gonna split. We're gonna take a break, and we're gonna be back on with Shawn with his. Let me get my paper again. Strong dark Belgian blackberry wit beer.
With cherry.
It's easier with cherry and no, don't confuse me. Guys, thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it, and hope you had a good time. Thanks for bringing the beer. It was a great beer.
Yes,
you did it wonderfully. Yeah, cheers. All right, we're gonna take a break. Let me find my thing. Hold on a second, everybody. Sometimes this mouse doesn't like to work. Okay, got to push the button.
Find the thing.
You think I've never done this before? Dr. Homebrew back after this.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states. Plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy shit!
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Hey, dude, you know what beer this is?
Oh, no, all the labels are falling off.
Yeah, or the ink is run.
Well, if it's the pale ale, you're good, but stay away from the quote-unquote Belgian.
Oh, man, this guy needs to get some grog tags.
Grog tags are reusable, write-on, wipe-off, commercial-grade bottle labels for your brew. The guys at Grog Tag are homebrewers. They wanted great-looking, sturdy labels for your bottles, buckets, carboys, kegs, and growlers. They also wanted a label that not only looks good, but can be easily removed and reapplied during bottling without that nasty glue residue being left behind. No residue, water water resistant, and ice chest approved. Grog tags stay on in water or an ice chest, and they stay legible. Visit grogtag.com to customize your label or coaster from dozens of different templates for free and see how awesome your bottles can look.
It's that pseudo-Belgian.
Yeah, we're getting him some grog tags, dude.
Grog Tag. At least your beer will look good. grogtag.com. Ma'am, I'll need to take your top off for this examination.
Oh, doctor.
All right, everyone, welcome back.
Welcome.
Pouring some new beer here. Pouring the strong, dark Belgian blackberry wit beer. It is the show, it's the Belgian clone show, I suppose, and the show of a long name. If Native American Indians had a radio show, it would be this. See what I mean?
Or Germans. They do that, too.
They do?
Yeah,
See,
they
I don't
just
know.
tack words together to make one long word.
I'm so dumb. I don't know what happens in the world.
Both beers are kind of reddish, too, so...
Are they? Here's my glass, too, please, by the way.
Fresh bottle. Oh, here you go.
Thank you, sir. Shawn, are you with us, buddy?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, definitely. I see a video. We may have to kill the video, but I don't know. We'll see. If Bevo, let me know if there's a lag issue going on. Would you, Bevo? All right, great. Thanks. Love you.
She didn't hear you.
Never mind. Don't worry about it. You're doing great, sweetheart. Don't worry about it.
What did I do?
You didn't do anything.
Let him know if he's lagging behind other hosts of shows,
other people
in his quality of comments, and because we think he's lagging,
right
and
away.
his personality
or the
in
Skype
general.
Skype is lagging. Maybe that's what you meant. I don't know.
It's all right.
No, you're fine.
Thanks. All right, Shawn, tell us about this beer, man.
Well, it's a blackberry Belgian beer. It was kind of like my kind of end of season brew. I basically just had everything left over that I put into some kind of wheat monstrosity kind of beer. So really the grain bill was a little bit over 10 pounds of red wheat, 10 pounds of two-row, some Crystal 60. I think I had some white wheat malt in there too, and then I fermented the whole thing with some Munich yeast, and then when it was done, I threw it into a secondary with 10 pounds of blackberries and let that sit for another 2 weeks, and then that's what we got today. So I kind of classified it as a Belgian specialty ale just because of the high wheat content and the fruit. So that's just kind of, I was guessing where it would kind of fit in. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Definitely strong.
What's the ABV on this thing?
My math, I got like 7.5, almost 8. The initial gravity was 1062, and the final before it went into the blackberries was 1012. So it had a pretty good drop.
Not bad. Yeah, not bad. How long have you been a homebrewer?
About 4 years.
Okay, and is this your first try at a strong dark Belgian blackberry wit beer?
Yeah, it was my first try at it, and like I said, it really just came from what I had left over in my my grain stores, and I'm like, I'll just make that. Sounds good.
It's the kitchen sink beer, huh?
Everyone has to make one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's always gonna be beer no matter what.
Been there, done that. Yeah.
Have you ever worked with fruit before, or is this your first kind of fruit beer?
No, I really like a raspberry wit, and I do a lot of wheat fruit beers, but just standard like Belgian wit, raspberries. I did a pineapple wit, which was really good, and then orange. I have a really good orange wit that I make pretty regularly too in the summer season. So I do a lot with fruit just because I like the kind of the aftertaste of it, the complexity it adds to the beer, and it looks really cool in the fermenter too. So
color, yeah.
That's awesome. Pineapple wit.
Yeah,
kind of interesting.
Yeah, my wife subscribes to this thing called Bountiful Baskets. I don't know if you guys have it in your neck of the woods. Basically, it's a...
It sounds like a nudie mag.
Yeah. It's a all organic fruit vegetable sign up thing, and you don't know what you're going to get every week. And we ended up getting 6 pineapples. And she's like, "What am I going to do with these?" And I'm like, "Well,
I'll use them.
Let me just throw them in there." So We just kind of happened to have them, and it turned out really good.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, you remember we had last winter, I think, somebody submitted that pineapple Berliner Weiss.
Yes.
It's actually really
that
good.
was amazing, yeah. Yeah, that was tasty.
That was good.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was tasty incarnate. No, wait.
Wait.
Okay. That's a different
Okay. That's a different one.
Yeah.
All right, Lee, it's you're up. For that comment, you go first,
I
dude.
get to lead off.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Belgian strong, dark, wit beer with blackberry. I guess it's not a wit beer, but you use a wit yeast, right?
Yeah, I used the wit yeast, yeah.
Yeah. So are you actually calling this a wit beer, or is it just a wit yeast as a matter of fact?
You know, with the grain bill, I mean, with it basically 50-50 wheat and churro, I mean, it's kind of there, but I don't know. I mean, it was just it seemed like it fit that the best, and then with the wit yeast on top of it, it just kind of, I thought it was pushing it that direction, but I could be wrong. That's why I wanted you guys to taste it and let me know what you thought.
All right. We'll take the difficult question. So, what do we got here? Aroma, fruit, berry, floral aroma, blackberry skins with jammy undertones, caramel malt aroma blends well, ferment character is low in profile, slight spiciness and some tangerine kind of esters, no DMS diacetyl, some kind of, I thought, threshold peppery phenols. Appearance, good clarity, red amber color. Pours a low white foam with pink hits that fades quickly to a low bead. Could use some better retention, especially for a wit beer for the head. Those should have pretty good head retention. For the flavor, fresh and complex blackberry flavors, skins, flesh, and seeds all there. Medium high in intensity. The malt with caramel flavors is also there supporting that. Some tangerine esters. Some low peppery phenol notes. No hop flavor supporting IBUs. Balances to the fruit and the malt. Finishes slightly sweet with lingering fruit and some tannins and some phenols. And the tannins, I think, are probably coming from the seeds. They definitely lend a drying, I wouldn't say quite astringent, but definitely a drying character to the beer. Medium to medium high body, medium low carbonation. Wit beer should actually be quite highly carbonated, but this one wasn't really carbonated very much at all. Not warming or hot, has a medium-low tannic astringency or drying character from the berry seeds. Nicely creamy. Overall, I thought it was a pleasant drinking fruit specialty beer with some good flavors and a few challenges that could be fixed fairly easily. The berry flavor I thought was complex and interesting and reasonably fresh overall, and that's good. However, I think the seed drive kind of husky tannin quality to it wasn't so nice. I don't know how you treated the berries for this beer, but I've heard a lot of people when they do berries, blackberry, raspberry sort of thing, these little seedy fruits, crush them and strain out the seeds before you add the pulp in. And that can help get rid of some of the seedy character. So that if you didn't do that, that might be something to try. The wit beer...
He just threw them straight in, he said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that might be something to help get rid of that sort of drying, astringent character. The wit beer characteristics for ferment esters and the wheat flavor were pretty heavily masked under the specialty edition. So all the berries and the caramel kind of masked that over. So you could, if you wanted to bring the wit beer character out, if you're concerned with that, which, since it sounds like you're basically cleaning out the larder here, maybe you weren't. But if you wanted to call it a wit beer, you might want to throttle back on some of the specialty ingredients, or just change it to calling it a Belgian strong fermented with a wit yeast. This sort of is alluding to the question of what do you want to call this beer if you're going to enter it in a competition. The other thing that could be fixed, it needs substantially more carbonation, both as a wit beer and just in general. It was unfortunately fairly flat when it gets to us here. And it's got some nice flavors, but being so flat, it kind of detracts from the overall presentation of those flavors. So I don't remember if I noted whether this beer was bottle conditioned. I think this looked like it was probably a keg fill. It's pretty clear down there.
Yeah, it was a keg fill. I just... when I filled it for you guys to send it out this week, I sanitized the bottles, put them in the freezer, and then just poured it right off the keg with a tube to fill it up and capped them right away. So I probably didn't get a good enough carbonation carryover with the bottle. So.
Yeah, I would say you're right on that. It's pretty low carbonation. So if you want it to present like a wit, you'll need high carbonation. Otherwise, and most of the strong Belgians you want pretty high carbonation actually. So a little practice on that a JP like that. A little practice
like a
on
wit.
that front would probably improve it, but it definitely needs to have the carbonation brought up. Other than that, I think the main questions are kind of similar to what we talked about with Sam. Is sort of how do you want to define this for the judges to think about if you're worried about competitions. If you're just brewing this for yourself, great. I think you're there. It's a pretty nice beer. But if you want someone to give you feedback on it from the stylistic side, it doesn't really present as a wit, so you might want to call it something else.
Okay.
But the blackberry flavor is definitely there, and the caramel that you put in is definitely showing up pretty well.
What would you call it? I mean, you threw out a couple options, but...
you could call it like a double or a strong dark with blackberries and a wheat yeast. Would sort of focus the judges in a very particular direction, as opposed to calling it just a wit, because it really doesn't present like that. It doesn't have the phenols, it doesn't have the fruitiness, it doesn't have the carbonation. All of that should be fixed anyways. And it's so dark. I mean, you could call it a dark wit, I guess, but it still doesn't really taste like a wit. So much of the wit flavor revolves around things that aren't really very prominent here.
Okay.
But it's a nice beer overall. I definitely enjoyed drinking it. I gave it a 29. It'd probably score several points higher with the carbonation up at the right level.
Okay. All right. Brian.
Hello, yes.
Hello, Brian.
Yeah, this beer has in the aroma has a sweet and fruity, cherry, berry-like presentation up front. You also get that along with the fairly rich maltiness. It has, to me, it had kind of a wort-like aroma, like when you're brewing the beer, a sweetness like that, like not sickly sweet or anything, but it just had that kind of wort-like component and a little carameliness. The esters were medium high as far as it was pretty fruity. I'm not sure how much of that was coming from the yeast or from the fruit itself. But yeah, good blackberry aroma. To me, it didn't have. I didn't get any pepperiness or other spices that you get typically from a lot of Belgian yeasts or from spices that are used traditionally in a wit beer, like coriander, as you would expect for that. But if you declare it as such. So I do agree with Lee. You probably wouldn't want to declare it as a wit for judging, and we'll get into more of that. But yeah, no hops there, which is fine for a Belgian style. No buttery diacetyl or cooked corn DMS or anything like that. Just it seemed pretty cleanly brewed. Appearance wise, I thought it was a pretty beer. Had this medium reddish amber color with pinkish highlights in the glass. It was quite clear. It had a tinge of haze, but not offensive. Just a low whitish head that fades really quickly. It did leave a little bit of a ring around the glass though, so you can take off a point for the head not really being there. 2 out of 3 points isn't bad. Flavor wise, it did have that kind of the wordy and fruity sweetness kind of carried into the flavor. To me, it's more the impression of sweetness because it seems like a pretty dry beer. Otherwise, but yeah, had kind of medium-low bitterness, which kind of surprised me a little bit. Or that could have also been an impression of bitterness from the tannins that are in there and the seedy quality that Lee was talking about. I really liked Lee's description of this beer, by the way.
Yeah, it was very good. Spot on, Lee.
Mine is going to be horrible compared to that. But
well, thank you. And no,
there was a hint of a spicy phenolic in the flavor. Probably from your wit yeasts. But it was definitely balanced the fruit and the malt. It wasn't a yeast balanced beer as I expect like a lot of Belgians to be. Although if you declare it as a fruit beer, it's balanced with the fruit. That's fine too. So, a lot is in how you declare it. No hops. Finished kind of medium dry despite that perception of the fruity sweetness. And the malt does have a hint of that caramel flavor in there along with the fruit. It's pleasant, but it gets kind of a bit washed out, and it's kind of the flavors together to me just we're kind of fighting with each other a little bit. I would want it to either be fruity or caramelly, and maybe it did seem to have a hint of the tartness that you get in some wit beers, which was good for it. I could have used more of that probably to make it more interesting. If you if you wanted to go a different direction with it. So I'll body wise, kind of like Lee said, it was kind of a medium full body with a little bit of alcohol warmth in there, but it was really smooth alcohol warmth. There was a bit of astringency, possibly from those seeds. It wasn't very, very creamy, and the carbonation was fairly low. So it was a unique beer. One thing, the blackberry flavor to me, I don't know, it seemed slightly dull to me. It didn't taste like fresh blackberry, but that's the hard thing about fruit beers, especially ones where you're going to use a very drying yeast, is that there's nothing there to pair with it to give it that to make it really pop. So what I would do with this beer, it's pretty unique as it is and well brewed. It's a very drinkable beer. It doesn't seem to fit any specific profile, such as a wit beer or a Belgian strong. And that faded fruit character to me is begging for something else with it, like maybe make it into a sour, or give it a little more of that tartness to make it pop a little bit. Pull back that crystal and let the fruit shine through a little more without getting muddled, or experiment with different ingredients. Like you could make it more interesting. I had some really good berry beers that are made with a lot of chocolate malts. There's one from Lost Coast up in Eureka. They have a raspberry chocolatey beer kind of. Yeah. I forget what it's called.
Is that any good? I've never had that.
Yeah, it's really well balanced. It's a good beer.
Yeah.
The name is eluding me, but yeah, you could add some chocolatey malts in with this instead of, or in addition to, a backed off caramel presence with that. And look at your fruit addition methods, as Lee talked about, the sources, and if you can just get that freshness. The other way you could go about it is to figure out a way to leave a little more sweetness in the beer. Use a high mash temperature along with it, but you'd also want to be careful not to get it too wordy tasting and have too many other things going on. In that case, you'd probably just want to have sweet, kind of neutral malt along with that fruitiness that is there to make it, pop in a sweeter way instead of more of a tart way. So there's a lot of different directions you could go with this beer, and it's interesting as it is, but I kind of didn't know where to peg it either, as Lee said. I gave it a 30, and I thought it was a very drinkable beer, and
so pop more like Britney Spears, not Miley Cyrus, right? Sweeter, not tart. Because they can both, right, Beeve? You got me, right? Saying? Feel me,
no,
dog?
I'm looking at you like you're stupid.
Oh. I thought that's just how you looked.
Well, most of the time it is, but that was dumb.
Did I wake you up?
You did.
Okay, sorry.
I'd like to go back to sleep now.
Go back to sleep now.
Thanks.
All right.
Yeah. No, just find a way to give it a little zing, and keep. But you did a good job brewing the beer, and it seems like you kept everything happy. There were no
there's not
flavors in here, but
right?
sometimes these kitchen sink beers can get a little bit like this, and just the elements fight with each other a little bit. So I don't know. I would have gone on. You never know how it's going to come out. Sometimes when you're like, oh, this sounds like it might be good, and sometimes it is really good, and other times it's very drinkable, like this one is, and other times it's just it's like, oh, I need to do something different with this. But yeah, this one's kind of in between. So yeah, good job.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, and that's what I wanted you guys to get some feedback on it. Is I really liked how it turned out, and I'd like to make it again. Now they got the recipe all in the system, and that way what way to tweak it to make it something where if it if I wanted to send it into competition or wanted to really make it match a certain style, or what would I need to do to just kind of tweak it into that, So, and the seeds is a great point. I never thought about getting rid of the seeds that way.
Yeah.
To get rid of the tannins. That's a good idea. I'll have to do that next time I do that especially with the smaller fruits, the blackberries and raspberries and stuff like that. So
yeah. And they're like 80% seeds. So
right.
Look into that a little bit before you sit down to do it. I think it's probably a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
Smushing those up and putting them through a filter mesh of some sort to get that out is.
But it's worth it.
Yeah. It should be worth it in the end, though. You'll get rid of that kind of tannic quality. Yeah.
I looked up that the Lost Coast Brewery. If you're ever out west here in Eureka, north of us here, but it's called the Raspberry Brown. It's just basically an American brown ale with a really nice raspberry flavor.
Probably their downtown brown, right? They do the downtown brown.
Yeah, like the downtown brown, which is a nice beer on its own, with the raspberry flavor.
Yeah.
And I think they use an extract with it.
I would imagine.
You can get pretty fresh flavors from extracts too. And whole fruit is kind of a pain to deal with. It's a good way to cheat. But you can try it both ways, and maybe the whole fruit ends up being the way you want to do it. But yeah, deal with those seeds for sure.
Yeah, or if you look, you might actually be able to find a good fruit puree from these things. I know for some fruits you can find that, and that's de-seeded. That's a lot harder to find, but it might be even a better product than an extract if you can find it.
Some of the homebrew shops do sell that. Some of the ones that ship, like More Beer, I think sells some of that kind of stuff. Oregon fruit purees.
Oregon fruit, that seems to be the number one. But I'm sure maybe there's some organic shop
find it
near
other
you.
Other shops, yeah.
Do you have any other questions for the guys, Shawn?
No, I mean that was really it. Thank you guys for the feedback. I really appreciate it.
Cool.
So I'm glad you enjoyed the beer. I know the one thing I really have to work on is getting that carbonation level in the bottle. So I don't really bottle that often. I usually keg everything. So I think investing in a beer gun or some sort of counter pressure filler to keep it as true to the keg as I can. I think that'd probably be good too. So.
Yeah, I'm sure what you're tasting is a little different. That's going to drive up some of those flavors a little bit too, and it might be all you need to make it pop just a little more too.
Yeah, and it could take a little practice to get that to come out right. Shoot a little higher in your carbonation, but it's doable. And it's worth it.
We all mess up on that. I've entered competitions where my beer was way too undercarbonated, and I deserved the low score I got. So
Great beer, flat, 12 points.
Right, there you go. Try again, dude. All right, Shawn, thanks, man.
All right, thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it, bud. Yep. Take it easy.
Hey,
all right. Bye. Good beer.
Yeah.
Okay, so let us convene. Let the judges convene to choose the grog tag. At least your beer will look good. $40 gift certificate winner. So if you're in the market for labels, I know both of our guests today have had little custom labels. If you're in the market for that kind of stuff, go to grogtag.com. Check them out. They're fully customizable. They're reusable. You can just peel them right off. It's just a vinyl thing. You can write on them with a washable crayon. They're pretty cool. They also make keg ones that are permanent, so you can write with a dry erase marker, and you can label your keg when you dry hop, the starting gravity, all that kind of stuff. They do coasters. They do custom bottle caps. They do custom wine labels if you're in the whole wine thing. So, yeah, check them out. grogtag.com. At least your beer will look good.
Yeah.
Shawn's label has a little bit of running, though, to it. We noticed.
Because the condensation kind of came down. Grog tags won't do that. That's the thing about grog. You can put their ice chest approved, man. You put them right in the ice chest. You leave them there all day. Leave them overnight. Pull them out. The labels are still on, man.
And although he had to ship his beers, and Sam was able to bring his directly to us, Sam's label that they used for their wedding is not running. It looks like he got this professionally printed at it. Yeah. Somebody that does labels for breweries or something.
I kind of borrowed a laser printer from Staples.
Yeah. Okay.
Great return policy.
Okay, great.
Cheap ass. Love it.
Yeah. Laser.
Nice work.
It looks like the winner of the grog tag would be Shawn.
Shawn, all right. Hey. I know it's an award that us as homebrewers don't normally like to win for getting the lowest hypothetical score. But hey, look, man, you got $40 to spend a grog tag out of it, so that's pretty cool. And I will. I'll shoot you that gift certificate.
But I was giving his label crap. It is a cool looking label. He's got some.
It's pretty cool design, right? So he would definitely benefit from some grog tags for sure.
Labeling technology. Yeah, that's it
for sure. Okay, we're going to get out of here. Thank you very much to Sam and Tanya, and very much thanks to Shawn for sending the beers in. Of course, Sam for bringing their beers down and
staying up late drinking to wait for our slow asses to get.
We'll wait for Bev to not kick computers.
Oh no.
Whatever.
Oh, no.
I do what I can.
Yeah, good work.
We thank her for being here.
Keep trying not to destroy
her for being here. That's right. I'm going to flee the blast radius now.
I think you should.
We want her help the next time because you just get all flustered when you try to do everything by yourself. JP.
Right.
I do.
Right.
I don't handle technology. I think is how you say it.
Circles in here.
You weep into the mixing board, and it's sad to see.
Yeah, I don't even understand. Yeah. I don't know how to work it. Things happen.
He has a lot of feelings, and that's okay.
It's all right. It's all right.
Got help.
Usually the feelings are of confusion and sadness.
Where am I?
Yeah, I don't know where I am, and I'm sad that I don't know where I am.
Let's have a whole show talking about JP's feelings.
Let's not do that.
We could just continue the show for another 20 minutes just bagging on JP and his feelings.
We've had the last 10 years of this stupid network about my stupid feelings.
That's why he's ramping up the music.
No one needs to hear. Yeah, Lee, why don't you go ahead?
That's right.
All right, everyone, it's Dr. Homebrew. Thanks a lot for sticking with us. We will see you next time. Peace.